Good evening, good afternoon, good day, beautiful City fans. How are you doing today? I'm in a really good mood. I don't know about you guys. Something about City yesterday being absolutely glorious has got me feeling fine. I've been thinking about that game an awful lot since yesterday. I've been dying to do this video. I've been out with the family today. But I could not wait to talk about that game more because the more it sinks into my head, the happier I am with it. I know there's still rough edges to polish and so on. It's tempting to sort of, say calm down, don't get carried away. It's just a poor Wolves side. All that is true, but this is the kind of game that we still struggled with last season, absolutely. And for me, the indicators were there, the KPIs, the key performance indicators were there to suggest that this is a City side absolutely going the right way. I'm truly excited. I just felt it was a performance full of confidence. And one thing I didn't actually cover in this 5 Things Learned video, what I talk as a pretext to this, is go and watch the highlights, by the way, back again, and watch the faces of the players after the goals. Watch the goals. They are really high quality. The first goal, Reijnders, a bit of skill, beautiful dinked ball, great movement from Rico, great cross to the back post to Haaland. That's a really high quality goal, absolutely out of nowhere. The second goal, the aggression on the press, Oscar Bobb wins the ball back, burst forward, Reijnders, beautiful run, great finish. It's a great goal. The third goal, which was, I've forgotten, the Haaland's goal. Lovely pass from Trafford. Reijnders does beautiful. Oscar Bobb does beautiful to play back to Reijnders. Reijnders pulls it back to Haaland. Really high quality goal. How do you stop that? The fourth goal, magic from Cherki after a flick from Nico O'Reilly. Like all incredibly good goals. And the players, they look smug afterwards, like, we are good. And basically, that to me is that you don't look like that and finish that well. City were not clinical last season. That was clinical. Goals of the highest quality. That's a confident City side, which is why I can't wait to talk about this game in a little bit more detail. Guys, please give the video a like. Please subscribe. It does honestly help the channel. And you might hear that a billion times from YouTubers, but we're telling the truth, man. We do this stuff because we like talking about football, And it's nice to be able to do it more and put more effort into these videos. So if you're enjoying them, you want to see a lifelong City fan from Manchester, carry on making these videos, you know what to do. Just subscribe, and it makes it more likely that I can carry on making these videos. So yeah, do that please, and give the video a like if you're watching live as well. It's good to see so many people in the chat, from Denny to Lucas, Lucas, a member there, the legend, Bass, Sharif, Bestie, Brad, Ian, and a lot of you. You're all absolute legends. So let's go to the first thing I want to talk about anyway. Oscar Bobb. Oscar Bobb is Pep's perfect winger. That's terrible. But Oscar Bobb, yeah, basically, I mean, obviously I paraphrased there. I made that up as a conclusion, but he is. Oscar Bobb, absolutely exceptional. What a magnificent footballer. I know I could have started elsewhere in this video, but I wanted to get Oscar Bobb praising because I understand why Savinho's going. Savinho took one look at Oscar Bobb in training and thought, Joe, I'm out of here, 1 assist, 94% pass accuracy, 3 out of 5 successful take-ons, 100% successful long balls, 4 out of 7 ground duels, 4 ball recoveries, which of course led to a goal as well, 2 chances created, and ran about 12 kilometres as well. Absolutely everywhere. There was a quote, let me just try and find it. Quote about from Guardiola about Oscar Bobb last season, about how he enables us to press better, which is a mad thing to say from a really skillful winger. He doesn't talk about his creativity, which he's got in abundance. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But he was talking about how Oscar Bobb essentially lets us press so much more intuitively. Oscar Bobb is an incredibly smart footballer. Of course, it's easy to get dragged in by those insatiably tricky feet, the mesmeric feet, Messi-esque at times, with the dribbles and the darting runs and the changes and the turns away from defenders. And it's also easy to get drawn in by his incredible decision making. He seems to make the right pass all the time. But more than that, he's just really smart. He knows exactly where to be on the pitch all the times. And it's intuitive approach to pressing as well. He triggers the press and he does it really well. Look at his reaction for the second goal for Reijnders when he pressed after Reijnders had gone for it and he won the ball. But he won the ball with a little back heel flick thing as well, then burst forward. Bobb is an aggressive presser. He works Bernardo Silva-esque. The man runs and runs and runs, but has remarkable footwork. He can keep the width. He can play the overlapping passes. He can get in and score goals himself. He can create goals. I can't think of anything more you'd ask for a Guardiola winger. He's a decent physicality as well. I've seen people question his pace. I'm not going to say he's like chalk on the boots level fast, but he's definitely not slow, man. That guy is getting past you in the area. Like, that's all he needs. In a tight space, Oscar Bobb's getting past you. He might not be able to sprint past you for 50 yards, but we don't really need that, man. On a counter-attack, is he more than fast enough? Absolutely. So he's fast, incredible footwork, incredibly intelligent, incredibly humble as well. And he's got an incredible hunger. I say incredible a lot. Yeah, he's really fast in the area, basically, which is all you need him to be. He's going to get past you for fun all the time. But, you know, a lot of fullbacks will be able to catch up to him. Not a lot, some, you know, a decent amount over a long sprint. But yeah, it's like how Hazard wasn't like insanely fast, you know. Hazard was really fast in acceleration. But yeah, like Oscar Bobb, just ridiculous, like so much skill. I truly think last season the predictions about him being a breakout star would have been absolutely true if Oscar Bobb had not unfortunately broke his leg, you know, because he's got ridiculous talent, and I honestly think Guardiola's going to play him an awful lot. Yeah, and as Herbal mentioned in the chat, at times he's 1 versus 5 and 6 players, and he still didn't lose the ball, darting this way and that. I don't know what more you can add for a Guardiola winger, because he's going to score 15, 20 goals if he plays every single season. And he is going to score and create loads of goals. He's going to create loads of goals as well. He's going to work really hard. So, yeah, what a phenomenal player Oscar Bobb is. And look, I understand if Sevilla looked at him in training, Guardiola very obviously has got a thing for Oscar Bobb, rightfully so. I think he's going to play an awful lot of football. And I think by the end of the season, we're going to talk about him. Here's an outside bet for you. Young player of the year, Oscar Bobb. Outside bet. It's going to be Cherki, let's be honest, though. Second thing I want to talk about is this wonderful man. Tijjani Reijnders is a game changer. Absolutely marvellous. As good a debut as you'll see in the Premier League. That I'm not even exaggerating. A stupendous debut from Tijjani Reijnders. Like, look, last season, one of my biggest issues with Manchester City is that I felt like with no Rodri and an aging De Bruyne and Foden off the boil, essentially, we had no real game changers. It was prosaic, it was static, it was dull, it was repetitive, predictable. There was not much magic there, you know. De Bruyne was still good at times, but he wasn't the magician of, you know, bygone years. And we lost Alvarez as well. We had a long range strike that was impressive. We got a bit of magic back when Marmoush came in. He injected a little bit of X factor into the side. But with no Rodri and Foden at his best, it was left to Savinho and Doku, two reasonably raw but talented wingers. We don't quite have the same edge as those guys to do something special, and they were never going to do it. And we felt so predictable. In times, it was Josko Vardiol providing the magic, you know, from fullback, crying out loud. But Tijjani Reijnders absolutely has that X factor. Like, he changes Manchester City's ability in midfield. Like, he's just absurdly talented. And look at the involvement in the goals. The first goal comes about because Tijjani Reijnders decides to get the ball on the left side of the pitch near the halfway line, gently dribble through the middle, skip past 2 players, play the most perfectly weighted through ball you'll ever see. An incredibly hard through ball to play. That dink is so technically impressive. And he just creates a goal out of nothing. The second one is a ridiculously brilliant finish from Tijjani Reijnders with his weaker foot from 18 yards. And the third one comes about because Reijnders controls a beautiful pass from Trafford, darts forward away from his defender, plays it to Bobb, then darts past him again and plays the perfect pull back to Haaland. Those 3 goals essentially all were... 1 and 3 were instigated by Reijnders. Number 2 was scored by Reijnders. Reijnders won us the game yesterday. I'm not even exaggerating. Reijnders, with his magic, won us the game yesterday. Like, genuinely, that is Rodri, De Bruyne level impact. I'm not saying he reached that level, but that's what they do. They win you games with their quality, and that's what we've seen De Bruyne do. Very different way of doing it, but De Bruyne would just score a great goal for 20 yards and pick out a couple of wonderful passes. It's a very different way of doing it, don't get me wrong. But the impact was the same. He was just too good for Wolves. And by far the best player on the pitch yesterday, in my humble opinion. You know, Reijnders has got a lot of magic, a lot of self-belief, and he's going to score an awful lot of goals and create an awful lot of goals because that guy can do everything. He's an absolute alien of a footballer. He can dictate tempo, he can drive past people, he can score goals, he can create wonderfully great passing range with either foot, and he's the right age, and once again, he's got that hunger. Oscar Bobb, never been an integral part of a title-winning side before City. 22 years old, breaking out. Hunger. Tijjani Reijnders, this is his big move. With all respect to AC Milan, they've not been a force in Serie A for a long time. Reijnders has got his big Premier League move to play for Guardiola. He is hungry. And that debut, absolutely fantastic. We've got ourselves a superstar. I can feel it. I want to talk about the physical intensity being back. I've got Nico Gonzalez there because I'm not sure anyone ran more than he did yesterday. City, what struck me yesterday is I saw this stat that apparently as of before today's game, so out of the first 6-7 games, Man City ran more than any other team in the Premier League. That is insanely encouraging when you consider the fact that City keep more of the ball than most teams, and we just do high possession, but then we're also running more than most teams. It's night and day, chalk and cheese, whatever, comparing apples and oranges, all the other idioms to last season. Like last season, we were slow, we lacked physical intensity, we were old, and the only way we got through, last season was actually, and Guardiola was probably right in the end, was relying on a bit of experience just to sort of keep the ball because we couldn't match physically. We could argue that we might have been able to, but we weren't quite ready yet. But we are now. But the physical intensity was there. And we looked like actual athletes, I look all over the pitch, and you've got, especially in midfield, Bernardo Silva, he's never been one to shy from a challenge and a battle. He was snapping heels everywhere, all over the pitch, running and running and running. Nico Gonzalez, physical, imposing, aggressive, a good, strong, powerful runner. Likewise, Reijnders, strong in the challenge, imposing, not the world's tallest player, but physically imposing. Then you look the pace of people like Doku, Marmoush and the counter, bullish players. Haaland, a physical beast. Then you've got Oscar Bobb, who's got really fast and presses like an absolute monster as well. Rico Lewis will press all day. Stones, Diaz, powerful. Aït-Nouri was working really hard as well. The team was just physical, and the intensity in the press was back as well. Haaland, Doku, Marmoush, Bobb, Reijnders, Nico Gonzalez was so assertive on the press, and we sort of like stopped doing that last season, man. We genuinely did. And it's one of those things where this team, maybe it's down to Guardiola, like he said, there was a really telling quote, actually, let me just try and find it, where Guardiola implied that he wants to see, let me just find the quote, wants the team to play a lot more on the front foot this season in terms of be a bit more direct and run more, because we have that really, really impressive pace to go forward. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we've gone to a side that can actually run an awful lot more, and as a result we're looking a lot more aggressive on the counter-attack, and it's definitely intentional. And I'm excited to see it. The team is more physical. I found the actual quote here. 1 second, I'll bring it up. Let me just get everything ready over. Oops. I found the quote. Where is it? Here we go. I'll get rid of these. Where's the 5 things learning graphics? Sorry, I'm just trying to sort out my mess of OBS. I can't find the graphics. I'm trying to find. Apologies for this intermission, guys. Have I just done something? No, there it is. I found it. There we go. So here we go. So Guardiola said we punish Wolves in transition because we have incredible pace. With Tijjani, Oscar, Erling, Omar, we have good pace. It's a weapon we want to use this season. When we regain the ball, we attack quicker than maybe before. So Guardiola said we are going to attack quicker than this season. And as a result of that, I saw this this graphic from last season, which is interesting. This is the passing network compared to last season. We kept the ball, and it was tight up the pitch last season in terms of how we controlled and smothered them up near the top of the pitch. Look how loose and open that is compared to last season. The reason that is because we're passing quicker and directer. We're not more compact. We're moving up the pitch notably quicker with intensity, but with intention as well. We're doing it we're intentionally intensive. There's a real aggression getting forward, and as a result, we look like we're not smothering teams in the box, but we don't need to. When you've got the runners of those guys and the physicality, you can work that hard. And going back to the actual physical intensity, Nico Gonzalez, by the way, yesterday, absolutely excellent. I think Guardiola was probably waiting for something for him to adapt, and he's finally adapted, and he looked so good, man. Looked really impressive. And it's going to be excellent. But yeah, this City side can run again. And if you run and you're clinical and you've got X factor and you've got young players with hunger, another one with hunger there, Aït-Nouri with hunger, Rico Lewis. Rico's what to stay, which I think is good news. I think he's a really versatile player of the squad. Hungry, Oscar Bobb hungry, Doku, Haaland, all these players, Bernardo, to make it's good. It's back. The fourth thing I want to talk about is Rayn Cherki. What a magnificent footballer, lads and lasses. Genuinely just special, isn't he? So Guardiola brought him on for about 20 minutes left or something like that. And the interesting quote I thought from Guardiola was that Guardiola brought him on to control the game. He said basically, first half, he said good. Second half, he went, we scored goals in transition. He said in the last 10, 15 minutes with Rayn Cherki, he was a master at keeping the ball. We were a little bit better. Guardiola said he was a master at keeping the ball because Cherki is. Cherki can slow things down. He's got a wonderful ability to absorb pressure, get the ball and slowly move it around. And we talk about his flicks, his tricks, his goals, but I'm not just saying this, but there is a bit of David Silva in the way that he has that pauser. If you watch what David Silva does, and obviously he's not David Silva, but you got to bear in mind that David Silva at 30, 32 that was balling, he's a 22-year-old, oldest lad. Happy birthday, Ryan, by the way. Yes, he's got a long way to go, but David Silva would go to the ball, he'd get it and he'd drift over to the left side and he'd play the ball out to Sami Nasri or Leroy Sané, and then he'd get it back and then he'd bring it back through the middle, he'd drift it out to the right and he would gently stroke the ball around the pitch, rarely walloping it, but always giving these little 5-6 feet passes and then moving someone on, and he moved people around the pitch like a conductor with the orchestra, setting the tempo and bringing in the violin and bringing in the cello. And that's what Cherki's got, a little bit of that. Seriously, he has. If you watch how he plays, and we always talk about the fancy stuff, Cherki does that. He gets the ball and he tells where people are to be and he makes them move with a leading pass. He plays a pass that makes people look forward and then he'll make himself available. So Cherki has got this wonderful ability to set the tempo in his boots, and I absolutely love it. And then you add the fact that he's a genius passer, and you add the fact that he's got great footwork and dribbling, you add the fact that he looks like he's going to score an awful lot of goals. This guy is a special footballer, truly one of a kind right now. And I've not seen many like that, honestly. Like, he is going to be remarkable by the time he's 25 years old. I can feel it. Like, as long as nothing goes wrong, Cherki, look, a couple of years of Guardiola, he's going to become this elite. Don't be surprised, by the way, if by the time he's 25, 26, he is playing as this David Silva-esque player where he gets the ball, works really hard, he scores goals, creates. But honestly, don't be surprised because he's remarkably good. He's really good. And bringing Cherki on to regain control is great news for him. I absolutely agree. I was just talking about that, Citizen. Like, it is. If Guardiola trusts him to regain control, you've got a guy that Guardiola's going to trust very, 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 very quickly. A magician and another absolute bargain for City. Finally, Donnarumma, who now, of course, this is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It absolutely is, but I couldn't resist the pun here. You know, I couldn't resist the slight joke because obviously Donnarumma is a legend of the game, an immensely high quality keeper, one of the best shot stoppers in the world, and he comes alive on the biggest of nights, beat finals for Italy, for PSG in the Champions League or whatever. But we have to have a moment here for James Trafford. We have to talk about James Trafford because James Trafford showed yesterday that this man belongs at the highest levels. Now, I would be devastated if he didn't see much action this season if James Donnarumma came in, because James Trafford has shown that he has the mentality, the ball, the bravery, the stature, the confidence to be a Manchester City level goalkeeper. Look, I'm not going to say he had an awful lot to do yesterday, but there were some big chances. I'm going to be honest, one of them in particular, I didn't feel like Ederson would have saved. I think he's a better shot stopper clearly than Ederson. Ederson is, of course, a unicorn, one of one with his feet. But James Trafford, even though a couple of times he looked nervy, he didn't actually give the ball away. And he played a beautiful long pass to Reijnders to essentially get the game-securing goal, the third one. And I think ultimately, you may be like an 8 out of 10 by average, by keeper standards with the ball at his feet. 7 or 8 out of 10. He probably is an 8 out of 10. There's not many keepers are that much comfortable as he is with the ball. But we're just so conditioned to Ederson, who's just, most... It's like how, Messi's a 10 out of 10 dribbling and Bernardo Silva is best. Doesn't look anywhere near that, but he's still at least an 8 or 9 out of 10 dribbling, but it's just Messi's so good. It's like Ederson is like the Messi of passing as a keeper, and even though he's probably... It's like, it doesn't mean the others are bad dribblers. They're just, they're still great. That's my analogy roughly is trying to say there. But Trafford's still very good at passing the ball. But as a shot stopper, he's commanding. He's commanding, man. He's a real presence to him. He's eager. He's aggressive. He's young. He's confident. Look, my personal preference and what City should do is not obviously the same thing. I want James Trafford to be City's number one, only because I think he's ready. I've been watching him for several years at this point. I think, I'm not kidding, I've got the tweets to back it up. I always felt he'd be a City-level goalkeeper. I think I watched him for the academy, be powerful, composed, confident. And I know that confidence is everything as a goalkeeper. You have to believe in yourself. You have to be bullish. And to have the performance that he did yesterday, and it wasn't like he was peppered with shots, but to get a clean sheet on your debut, do all the things that you need to do, essentially get a part of a goal creation, or also making some big saves on your debut away from home, and to step up, given, given, Donnarumma is allegedly going to come in, like, it takes an awful lot of confidence from the young lad, and I think that speaks volumes about how good he is as a footballer. Yeah, Trafford is a cracking keeper. It's one of those things where I just hope he plays a lot of football, even if Donnarumma comes in, because he's too good. He's too good to be sat on the bench an awful lot. He's better than Ortega for City. He is. I'm not just saying that. He is. And he might just be the perfect balance between good at his feet and a great shot stopper that Man City need in life after Ederson. We will see. So the 5 things I wanted to talk about. I'm really excited, guys. I truly am. I think Bobb is going to absolutely set the world alight for Manchester City this season. He's got everything he needs to be a Guardiola winger. Diligent, smart, works really hard, presses aggressively, electric feet, darts past these players, never seems to give the ball away. And I'm not trying to dig out Savinho and Doku here, but all the debates around delivery and final ball. But Oscar Bobb doesn't really seem to have a bad final ball. He seems to find the person in the area always, because he just seems to draw him in and has a plan before he does it. And the other players are great, but Bobb just seems to get it right. He seems to know how to find people in the box. Reijnders is a game changer. Look, he's a special footballer there, involved in 3 of the goals. He essentially won the game on his own. A cracking footballer. He's going to go on to do special things at City. The physical intensity is back. We ran more than most teams this weekend, if not every team. I don't know the other stats from today's games, but he was great. The City were great, sorry. Cherki's got magic in his boots, and of course Donnarumma, who I hope you enjoyed the 5 things that we learned. I really enjoyed that game. I think you can see when a team is trending a certain way. I think someone said in the comments yesterday, Stephen, and they weren't being rude or anything, but he said you're being naive. He said we were back after the Juventus game, and then Al Hilal happened. I still maintain what I said. Even after Al Hilal, that City are back, you can see enough indicators. Obviously, it wasn't perfect. There was some errors, and the Al Hilal game we imploded in the second half. But the first half and Juventus game and Palermo, we're going the right way. And this one, this City side looks different. The ideas are vastly different. The ideas are aggressive, they're assertive, and the fact that I didn't even... Do you know the other things I should have mentioned as well? I should have mentioned the fact that the rebuild is here and the old guard have been moved on. The fact that he didn't bring on Akanji, Gundogan or Ake, and he brought on Kusanov, Nunes, Cherki, and who else did he bring on? I've forgotten. Nico Riley over Gundogan, and the 5th one... who was it? Marmoush. He brought on all the younger guys, all the players that that have broken recently. Says it all to me. Kusanov going over Akanji and Ake, that is telling. It is. Over Riley, over Ilkay Gundogan. Look, Guardiola loves these guys, he does, but we've got one non-homegrown player to go. He's telling them there that their minutes are up, and the fact that this rebuild is on the way, I'm very, very happy. Give the video a like, subscribe, watch my match reaction from yesterday. Thank you to all 400 plus, nearly 400 people watching. It's been great to have you here. So give the video a like if you enjoyed that, and I'll see you all soon. In a bit, up the Blues. Whisper it quietly, but we are actually back.